everybody, welcome to the Blue World Machine Shop. It's actually not really a Blue World Machine Shop, it's my cellar. But in any case, in my cellar, I have a small little machine shop because we make lots of little pieces, parts for our cameras. So today, I'm down here working on our new GH5 camera. A lot of people ask me, do you think that an engineering degree was a good background to becoming an underwater filmmaker? And I think actually it was. You know, I've mentioned many times I'm not a marine biologist. I actually have a couple of degrees in engineering. And engineering is one of those great fields where it's kind of a great background for anything. And how do I use my engineering? Well, you know, whenever I see a problem, I want to fix it. So today we are considering moving over to the Panasonic GH5 as one of our underwater camera systems, and it's obviously a very compact system to travel with and has very good quality. But the camera housings are really configured more for still photographers than for cinematographers. So there's two things that I want to do. The first thing is I want to get rid of these 1-inch ball mounts. I'm going to show you what those are. Typically, the ball mounts are used for heavy-duty arms, which are used for heavy strobes. So if you have one of these arms on here, there would typically be another section on this arm that would go to your strobe, and you can crank these things down and they're really strong. And then you can loosen them and they'll stay right where you put them. Very strong mounts. But this is kind of overkill for the lights that we use for video because they're really lightweight, and having to undo all these clamps every time I want to move a light is a big pain. So I actually don't really like these arms for our video cameras. I typically prefer these guys. These are called Lockline arms. They're made by a company called Lockline, and they're plastic, and they actually can pop apart and pop together. But the more you use them, the more like grungy and salty and ground in of the dirt they get, the better they hold. And this is perfect because when I'm underwater, I can just go, and my light goes right where I want it, and it stays there because this is perfectly fine for a light. So I'm taking these mounting balls off and I'm putting on the mounts for the Lockline. And what I'm going to do is put them right on the top of the handles so that I can just go and pop those Lockline arms right on there. So I have to build some mounts for this. And the other thing that I like is one of the problems with using a little bitty camera like this for video is even though you lock your arms together and it can be really stable this way, your wrists still have this axis where they turn easily. So it's really hard to keep from jiggling your shots like this. You don't have much of a problem with this, but you have a problem with this. And one of the reasons of that is because your hands are in the same axis and your wrists like to move that same axis together. But if you take one of your hands and you move it 90 degrees to an orthogonal axis, then it's stronger. So what I like to do is mount one of these little arms on the back of the camera as like a flexible handle that gives me another axis and it makes it smoother, right? Like this. So I also have to build a mount to put this thing on the back of the camera. And I don't want it to stick down because then the camera won't sit nicely on the boat. So I'm working on this right now, which is a little 90-degree mount that's going to go and it's going to bolt right in there under that handle, and then it's going to allow me to put one of these lock lines right on the back like that. I'm done after my day of playing in the shop, and what I've created is this little piece on the side which allows this lock line component on there, and then I've also got the lock lines on the top. So as I was talking about, to combat this shake, I simply take this arm pop it on here. And now I've got like a handlebar that's adjustable. I can put it wherever I want, and it separates my wrists, and it gets the wrists in a different plane, and it makes it so it's really smooth. And if this wrist tries to move, I'm holding it back here, so everything is nice and smooth. I can just flip that up when I want to put it down. It's kind of nice. And so I've also got these lights, the big blue 6000s. These are LEDs, they're really bright. Yay! And I've got some floats on them. And it's not to make these float. This float is enough for the light, but these floats are for the camera housing, because the camera housing is definitely going to be negative. It's going to want to sink. And I don't want it to sink too much. I want it to be light and easy to use. So I want it to be close to neutrally buoyant. So got a few floats. And now these snap on. And I'm ready to go with my new GH5 underwater system. And we're gonna test it tomorrow. Give it a little splash test in the ocean. It's gonna be great. So the next day, the Zacks and I head up to Cape Ann, Massachusetts, where we will do a shore dive at Folly Cove, one of my favorite local dive sites. So here it is, the new GH5, ready for its first official ocean test. We get suited up and walk into the murky North Atlantic, where I test the camera by filming whatever local marine life happens to wander by. My extended handlebar works perfectly to help stabilize the rig, and the image quality of the camera is outstanding. So the camera passed our tests, and we will take it to Australia on our next shoot. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss our next adventure.